Welcome to Math Online Academy. Today we are going to discuss simultaneous equation. Simultaneous equation. In simultaneous equation, we have two things that we don't know. That is two unknowns. In normal equations, we always have just one thing that we don't know. For instance, we can have 2x plus 4 is equal to 0 in normal equation. Now, in this case, there is only one thing that we don't know. We don't know the value of x. This is what we don't know. Now, but in simultaneous equation, we have an equation where there are two things in that equation that we don't know. For instance, we can have x plus y is equal to 2. Whatever we use an alphabet to represent, we don't know its value, so we are going to look for it. We have x and we have y. That means that we don't know these two things, so they are unknowns, two unknowns in one equation. In an equation where we have two unknowns like this, we need another equation that has two unknowns, two similar unknowns, for us to solve it. And that is why we call it simultaneous equation. We are solving for the two equations, or we are solving the two equations together. When you are doing two things, two or more things together, you say that you are doing them simultaneously. When you are doing two or more things together at the same time, you say that you are doing them simultaneously. So in simultaneous equation, we are solving two or more unknowns the same time. So, example of simultaneous equation. Let's consider this equation where we have, assuming we have x plus y is equal to 2 and x minus y is equal to 3. We are asked to find the value of x and y in these equations. Now, this is an example of a simultaneous equation. We have two equations, and two of them, they contain two unknowns, two things that we don't know. We don't know the value of x and we don't know the value of y. So we are looking for the two unknowns at the same time. So it is an example of a simultaneous equation. Now, how do we solve this? In solving a simultaneous equation, there are two methods we employ in solving a simultaneous equation. Number one is substitution method, and number two is elimination method. substitution method, and elimination method. In substitution method, what do we do? What we do in substitution method is to make one of the equations, one of the unknowns. We pick one of the equations and make one of the unknowns in it the subject of the formula. For instance, here we have two equations. Equation 1, x plus y is equal to 2, and equation 2 is x minus y is equal to 3. We can pick any of these equations. We can pick either equation 1, we can pick either equation 1 or equation 2, and anyone we pick, we make one of the unknowns. That is, we can make x the subject of the formula, or we make y the subject of the formula. That is in substitution method. Now, when you make that one of the unknowns, if you make one of the unknowns the subject of the formula, you carry it and put in the second equation. You use it and replace its place in the second equation. That is, if you pick the first equation and make one of the unknowns the subject of the formula, then you put it, the value of it, in the second equation. If you make the second equation, you put its value in the first equation. For instance, let's say that we pick the first equation given above. That is from let's say that we are picking this equation. Now that means that we can decide to make x the subject of the formula, and that will become y has plus here. If it is coming to this side, it becomes minus. So x is equal to 2 minus y. X is equal to 2 minus y. Now we have made x the subject of the formula. Now the next step is for us to put this value. We can now use this to replace the value of x in the second equation. We come to the second equation. The second equation is x minus y is equal to 3. Now that means that this place we have x. Instead of writing x, we put this thing that we have for the x. We use this 2 minus y to replace the value of x in the second equation. So from this thing, we now say that two minus y, this 2 minus y is representing x, because x is equal to this. So 2 minus y, then minus this y. This one is the main y in the equation, is equal to 3. I hope you understand this. First of all, we make x the subject of the formula. When we make x the subject of formula, it means that we should not use x again. Whatever we say that x is equal to, anywhere we see x, we use it to replace it. It is just like saying that, assuming that we say that x is equal to 1 somewhere, it means that anywhere you see x, that you are going to use the value 1 to replace it. So this one is what we are going to be using to replace the value of x anywhere we see it in the second equation, not from that one that you made it the subject of the formula. You take the second equation, and anywhere you see x, you use this value, this one, to replace it. Now, if we are doing that, it becomes this. We now say two minus y, now replacing the x, minus the y, which is the main y in this equation, now is equal to 3. Now we solve further. Solving further means to simplify this, which is we clear these brackets. For us to clear the brackets, it means 2 minus y, then minus y, minus y is equal to 3. And now we have minus y and minus y, so 2 minus 2y is equal to 3. That is, these 2y combined, and two of them have minus, so we put minus 2y, which is equal to 3. Now this means if you collect like terms, to make this 2y positive, we can bring it to this side and take this 3 to this side. So it becomes 2 minus 3 is equal to 2y. And then two minus 3 is equal to minus 1. So minus 1 is equal to 2y. Now that means that y is equal to minus 1 over 2. So this is the value of y. Now remember that you have two unknowns. We have x and we have y. We have gotten one of the unknowns, that is y. Now how can we get the value of the second unknown? We use this value, this thing we get for y, and put it in any of the equations. You can put it in equation 1 or equation 2. Now if we put it there, it will be easy for us to solve and get the second unknown. Now let's put it in equation 1. X plus y is equal to 2. Now we already know our y to be minus 1 over 2. So we now say x plus brackets, we use that value to replace y, which is minus 1 over 2, is equal to 2. Now that means x, now let's clear the brackets, minus 1 over 2. What we have inside has negative. Positive times negative is equal to negative. So we are now going to have x minus 1 over 2 is equal to 2. X minus 1 over 2 because we are using this positive here to times this negative. Positive times negative will give negative. So we clear the bracket and get this. Now with this, we can multiply through by 2. If we multiply through by 2, we have 2x minus is equal to 2 times 2. We are multiplying through by 2 means that each term, this one is a term, we multiply it by 2. This one is another term, we multiply it by 2. This one is another term, we multiply it by 2. Which is equal to 2 times 2 is 4. We can also find the LCM. This, anything standing on its own is over 1. So we can find the LCM of this one and this. So we say x over 1 and 1 over 2. The LCM is 2. So let's use that one also. If you don't want to simply multiply by 2, we can now find the LCM. Anything on its own is over 1. So that becomes a fraction. We have made 2 of them fractions. So the LCM between 1 and 2 is 2. So we have 2 as the common denominator. 2 divided by 1 is 2 divided by 1 is 2. Then 2 times x is 2x. Then minus 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Now this is equal to 2. Now here we have 2 as a denominator. If we are bringing the 2 to this side, it becomes multiplication. So we have 2x minus 1 is equal to 4, which is the same thing we got when we multiply through by 2. So I just decided to show you 2 different ways you can do it. You can multiply through by the denominator, or you can find the LCM and then you solve further. Now with this, we have that 2x, if we are collecting like terms, is equal to 4 plus 1. So 2x is equal to 5. And x is equal to 5 over, this one has 2, so we divide by 2, 5 over 2. X is equal to 5 over 2. So in summary, it means that x is equal to 5 over 2 and y is equal to minus 1 over 2. Now let's use, this is the answer. Let's use elimination method to solve this same equation. In elimination method, what we do is that we try to remove one of the unknowns. That is to make one of the unknowns not to be existing, so that we have only one unknown and then we can solve with it. It will be easier for us to solve when we have only one unknown than solving with two unknowns. To do that, we find something that we can subtract, and when we subtract it, one of the unknowns will become 0, and then we solve. Now let's say for the x, x plus y is equal to 2, and x minus y is equal to 3. Now let's call this one equation 1 and call the other one equation 2. Now, what can we do to make one of the unknowns? We can make x or y not to be existing. Let's say we minus equation 2, or we minus equation 1 from equation 2, taking this one, looking at this one, which is greater than 3 is greater than 2. So let's minus 1 from 2. Now to do that, we draw a line like this. Now we say x, this x in equation 2 minus this x in equation 1. X minus x will give us 0. So we have made this side 0. This will give us 0. Now we come to y. Minus y is in equation 2. Minus y minus y. Minus y is equal to minus 2y. So we have here minus 2y. This minus 2y is equal to 3 minus 2 is equal to 1. At the other side, this side, 3 minus 2 is equal to 1. And so we now have that from here, 0 minus 2y is equal to minus 2y. So we have that minus 2y is equal to 1. And that means that y is equal to 1 over minus 2. Y is equal to 1 over minus 2, which is the same thing that we got before. So this is equal to minus 1 over 2. Minus 1 over 2. That is the value of y that we got before. So we put that same value here into any of the equation like we did in substitution method. Now we put this minus 1 over 2 into any of the equations. Let's put it again in equation 1. We can also put it in equation 2, any one we like. So it becomes from x plus y is equal to 2. We now have that x plus minus 1 over 2 is equal to 2, and that means x minus this plus times minus is minus 1 over 2 is equal to 2. Now we multiply through by 2. We multiply through by this 2 here, which is this denominator here. If we multiply through by 2, we have 2x minus 1 over 2 times 2 now is equal to 2 times 2. Now this one we have 2 up and 2 down, so it cancels itself. So it's remaining only 1. So we have 2x minus, there's only 1. Anything standing on this one is over 1. This is over 1. So we cancel this one down and we cancel the one that is up. So it becomes 1 over 1, which is 1. Now is equal to 2 times 2 is equal to 4. Now from this, that means that 2x is equal to, if we collect like terms, this one will come to this side. It becomes 2x is equal to 4 plus 1, and 2x is equal to 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. So x is equal to 5 over 2, which is what we got it before. So again, we have that our x is equal to 2 over 5 and our y is equal to minus 1 over 2. So this is the same thing we got before. So whether we use substitution method or elimination method, we are going to get the same answer. Now your assignment. Okay, in question 1, we have that x minus y is equal to 4 and x minus y is equal to 1. In question 2, we have that x plus y is equal to 5 and x plus y is equal to 3. In question 3, we have that x minus y is equal to 4 and x plus y is equal to 1. In question 4, we have that 2x minus y is equal to 7 and x plus 3y is equal to 5. So you use both substitution and elimination method to solve these equations. Use both substitution and elimination method to solve each of them. So you pick question number 1, you use substitution method to solve it, and then you use elimination method to solve it. You go to question number 2, you use substitution method to solve it, and also use elimination method to solve it. So for all the 4, you use both substitution method and elimination method to solve them. Thank you.